Right, watch this. If I take my finger and touch myself, you don't get any psst noise, which would mean I was on fire. But very sadly, as I stand here, I am not a hot, free wrestling agent. Thankfully though, there are a ton of other sports entertainers in 2023 who are just out there in the ether and could get signed at any point. Hello, my name is Simon from What Culture. Happy New Year! And these are the 10 hottest free agents in all of wrestling. Number 10, Mandy Rose. So this is an interesting one, isn't it? I don't want to get into it too much because basically Mandy Rose should be allowed to do whatever the flub Mandy Rose wants to do. At the same time, if WWE feels like those actions may go against their contracts, I suppose they have to come to some sort of agreement. But ultimately, Mandy weighed $1 million in December 2022. So if you want to walk in here and try and criticize her, well, I think you've gone a little bit crazy. What's more important as far as I'm concerned is what she wants to do when it comes to professional wrestling. Because when she did go back down to NXT, it was a little bit like, well, why the hell has she done that? But not only did she reinvent herself, she went on a crazy tear with the women's champion. Now actually feels even more important than she did beforehand. She turned herself into a proper end-of-level boss, and as of me talking to you, her non-compete is still intact, so we don't know if anyone does have interest, but if I was an AEW or I was an Impact, I'd certainly be thinking about it. I mean, also don't forget that Rose is clearly quite popular because the numbers don't lie, and either way, she has absolutely set herself up for a life outside of grappling because she's got a ton of businesses, including a donut company alongside Sonya Deville. Once again, before we do move on, remember, don't judge anybody else and just let her get on with her life however she sees fit. It's not like she's hurting anybody else, and who in their right mind would give up this much cash? Exactly. Number 9, FTR. This one is going a little bit fantasy booking, but sometimes there is no smoke without fire. And over the last few weeks, Cash and Dax have come out and said, well, no, actually, our contracts are up in April 2023, and maybe, just maybe, we'll go away from the big-time wrestling scene and just act as proper independent contractors. And it's probably going to be the case that they will find a way to re-sign with AEW, but if it does go in the other direction, this means one of the best tag teams of our generation, and maybe one of the best tag teams ever, are just going to be out there. Holy crap, I'd get on the phone straight away. There's also the fact they've recently lost all their tag team championship belts, which must tie into something, and also keep it in your brain that Cash and Dax are still very friendly with Triple H. They're always saying nice things about him. So maybe they could even go back to WWE. At the same time, they could end up in, I don't know, Dayton, Ohio, wrestling for JFW. And no, I have no idea if JFW is a real company. I don't know much about Dayton, Ohio. This one could be huge though, because FTR are guaranteed to bring you good matches anytime they are in the ring. So I'm absolutely going to keep my eye on it. And then they will just be back with All Elite Wrestling. And I'll look silly. Number 8, Eric Young. For the last we heard, Eric Young was done with Impact Wrestling, where he's been for the last couple of years, and he was headed back to WWE. And now we stand here and we wait, and nothing has been confirmed. It would be quite a big move, because of course Young was part of the infamous pandemic firings way back when, but man did he make the most of that, because he went back to Impact, and not only did he become the world champion, but he created Violent by Design. Those guys have been smashing it for ages. And we do know that he definitely isn't returning to that TV anytime soon, because he was quite literally killed on screen by Cody Deaner. Now, this caused such a hoopla at the time, but it's wrestling. You want to do some stabby, go ahead. And maybe one of the reasons this news has been held up is because Eric Young has received a ton of offers, and that wouldn't surprise me either. This guy is like some kind of wrestling savant. He's got it up here and he just gets it. The most exciting part is that 1, WWE recently turned Nikki Cross back to her Sanity character. 2, Big Damo and Axel Tisha are still out there on the independent smashing it. So if Eric does come back and everybody else gets hired, well, maybe we'll see one fabulous comeback, and I would love it. Number 7, Zaya Brookside. Come August 2022, NXT UK was basically no more. Now, of course, a lot of people did lose their jobs, but one of the more surprising ones was Zaya Brookside. Now, this was twofold because 1, she was really good, but also 2, she's the daughter of Robbie Brookside, who has an amazing relationship with WWE and NXT. So when this happened, it was just a bit like, huh. Ultimately, though, this could work out in her favor because she's only 24 years old and she totally gets what wrestling is. So if she does go out there, continues to improve, all of a sudden, I tell you, everybody will be knocking on her door. then she can make a bunch more money. There's also every chance she has been told that when NXT Europe does kick up, she will have a prominent place there. But seriously, no matter what happens, she's another one to keep your eye on in 2023. She brings the goods. Number 6, Taya Valkyrie. Taya Valkyrie was part of NXT back in 2021, but if you blinked, you probably missed it. Dubbed Frankie Monet, she only wrestled 6 matches before she too was part of those infamous releases, and I will never get over this one because we didn't even give her a damn chance. There was also a rumor going around that she was released because of her age, but Taya is only 38 years old, and if that is the case, my word, we need to rethink everything. If you're a man, this is when so many experts say you're entering your peak. You'd have to imagine it's probably the same if you're a female. Valkyrie has also proven this too, because after she was released, she went back to Impact Wrestling, she became a champion, and she's been doing great work in MLW and all over the place. As far as I do know though, she's not actually properly signed to everyone, so she is an independent contractor. And given that Triple H has hired back a lot of people, I would definitely try this again, because I tell you, if you give her the right push, she'll be able to do whatever the hell you want. Number 5, Nick Aldis. Well, who the flub knows what's going to happen with this one? Because at the end of 2022, there was quite the serious falling out between the NWA, Billy Corgan and Nick Aldis, to the point Nick said goodbye to the company, meaning as of right now, he's a free agent. But this was crazy because he was so tied to that promotion and clearly cared. I'm not sure there's any fixing it. It soon came to light that one of the issues between Nick and Billy may have been the way that Corgan had treated Mickie James, who of course is Nick Aldis' wife, when it came to another Empower event. But seriously, I think this is the time for somebody to jump on the Nick Aldis bandwagon, because he's got something and he just needs to be able to show it on the biggest platform possible. And there are plenty of options too. I mean, he could go to MLW, he could go to Impact, he could go to WWE, he could go to AEW, he could go to New Japan. And I actually think Nick going out of his comfort zone may result in something great. This is another one I shall be watching with intrigued eyes. That sounds terrible. And it also ties into number 4, Mickie James. Yep. Makes sense, right? Now, James is currently with Impact Wrestling doing her last rodeo tour, where if she does lose, she will be done. But that only means she's done in Impact Wrestling, which means when we have drawn a line under that, maybe she can go have a last match in other promotions. I mean, Mickie has even said that she would like to work with a ton of women from a ton of different promotions before she does hang them up properly. So I would make sure she has a match in AEW, WWE, and basically all the companies I've already mentioned 100 times during this video. And given the lay of the land at the moment, I think there is much more opportunity to do this than there would be in the past. Well, of course, Vince McMahon did return recently, so who knows. And maybe, just maybe, Nick Aldis and Mickie James could offer themselves as a package deal, because I'm sure they'd like to be on the road together. Also, don't forget, there's another rumor going around that apparently World of Sport is coming back. Maybe they could front that thing. So it's going to be a massively interesting 2023 for this pair. I don't want to use the same line I used before because that was for Nick. Let's just move on. Number 3, Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. And just because I am running out of room in this list, I'm going to push the next 2 together because they too are a couple. It's Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. Now, the rumor mill suggests that Green will be announced as a WWE superstar very soon after leaving Impact Wrestling and saying she's going back home. And if this does happen, maybe, just maybe, it's time for Cardona to also return to the Fed. Maybe even as Zack Ryder. Now, I think there is a lot of weight to both of these because Chelsea Green never got her due in WWE because she suffered from so many injuries. And if we bring Matt as the indie character that he's been playing, oh, I tell you, it's such a 180 from what he was doing before. He has been so successful at it, I think he'll totally fly. Either way though, the world is totally their oyster over the next 12 months because they went out there, they grabbed wrestling, and they rang it by the neck. If Matt Cardona turns out to be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, I'll be so happy. Number 2, Naomi. So every single day we hear this, Naomi's going to return to WWE. Naomi's going back to WWE. Recently, she went to New Japan to see Sasha Banks debut with that company, and even then, everybody came out and said, don't worry, she's not debuting for them too, she's going back to WWE. If this is the case, then yes, I think she too should be a surprise in the Royal Rumble, and it's not like she's been quiet ever since she has been away from wrestling. She has been appearing on red carpets, and even made her modeling debut. It's important to know that as of yet, she hasn't made an appearance in any other wrestling company either, so maybe she does have a deal with WWE. It's about to come due. And you could even argue that potentially she's not even a free agent at the moment, because while we know for a fact that Mercedes Moné was able to negotiate her release, we never heard anything about Naomi. So maybe she's just on extended leave and now we have entered a brand new year, 2023. It's all gonna kick off again. You can never rule out AEW though, which is why wrestling rocks right now. The options are there, and that makes wrestling better. Number 1, Sasha Banks. Maybe. Or Mercedes Moné, as she's now known. This one is just totally crazy. Even by the time you've heard this, she may have turned up in AEW as a mystery tag team partner or just got involved in that match. And the fact you know she's already debuted for New Japan. The word that keeps going around is that Mercedes isn't signing any type of long-term contract, meaning she's making these shots. She's totally free. Now, it'd be crazy to me if All Elite Wrestling did sign her and then was like, yeah, man, go and do whatever you wanted. Because if you did return to World Wrestling Entertainment, your eyebrows would just raise. But she is a super duper star, so maybe she just wants to be the master of her domain. There's also reports out there that WWE didn't believe that she is going to AEW, so who the hell knows what's gonna happen with this one. But I tell you, it is a barrel of laughs, so I'm just gonna get my popcorn and I'm gonna eat it while I'm sitting there with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. Now please do leave a comment below and let me know about any hot agents in 2023 wrestling and where you think they could go. Like the video, share the video and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com where you can read yourself some articles. Make sure you come follow us on social media at WhatCultureWWE and Simon316. And if you would be so kind to watch another video, you'd be doing us a lovely favor. My name is Simon for What Culture. Thank you very much for joining me as always. We don't say Happy New Year anymore because that's dead. Let's just enjoy the year. See you soon.